Hello. Oh, thank you for being here today. Hello, everyone. Let me see, more people are joining. Hello. Hello, everybody. Okay. Just waiting. There's some people still in the waiting room. Okay, cool. I hope you're all having a beautiful week so far. Feel free to drop in where you're located, how you're feeling. Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing some collective messages. Thank you for everyone on the replay. I'm located in Miami. Hi from New York. So I'm just going to be sharing some collective themes that I've been feeling into for 2023. Hi, Cabrina. Because it's been a year. Collectively and individually, we've had a year. And from doing the year ahead reading so far for the past like 3 weeks, there's a lot of really beautiful energy that we're moving into. And I just felt like it was
Yes.
meant to share. We have California, Montreal, Canada. Hi. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join. So let's begin. Um, So 2023 has been a really intense time of purging and recommitting to our soul contracts. So I'm not sure if you've felt it at any point. We've been moving through a lot of heavy energy collectively, of course, for the last 3 years, but even more heightened for the last 5 years. So this surge of awakening that's been happening on the planet for the last 5 years has really ushered into the year that we've had of 2023 where we're literally renegotiating our soul contracts. So this year, a lot of what we're moving through and experiencing has been challenging us to commit, to stay grounded. What is it that we really want? With our soul contract, so as we reincarnate into this lifetime, we have a soul contract that we agree to, right? Certain lessons, certain experiences that we are here to live. And throughout our existence, of course, as human, as souls, we have free will and we can renegotiate our contracts. That includes relationships, that includes parenthood. There's been a lot of renegotiating because of the intense wave of awakening that we have been experiencing collectively and individually for the past 5 years. This year it's been really clear, or it's been trying to show us clarity around what gets to move forward and what doesn't. And thinking about the area of your life that has felt the most challenging, what has felt like I've been moving through a lot. I've been shifting a lot in this one particular area. This has felt the most challenging, especially this year. That's where the healing is. That's where we're really meant to focus, to breathe, to move through this experience of what is this challenge? What is this lesson? What is this grief? What is this pain? What is the purpose in it? And how can I heal it? Like, what can I do to heal this wound or this pattern so that it doesn't continue to play out? Because 2023 has been heavy in the lesson that we can't keep doing things the same way that they've done before. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for us as a species, for us as a society. And we're a part of a divine matrix. We're all connected. Even if you think that the genocide is across the world is not directly affecting you or connected to you, it 100% is. Because as a society, as a people, as a species, if something happens to one person, it happens to us to everyone. And COVID has shown us that how quickly something can spread and infect and root into our world. And this has really been heightened. So we're being asked to look within ourselves of, what am I doing to perpetuate this cycle? What am I doing to continue this pattern, whether that's me ancestrally, or maybe it's me in society with capitalism, with racism, with whatever toxic pattern that literally is not sustainable to us as a species moving forward. Those glimpses are hitting us all so different on an energetic level. And these cracks in our foundation is showing us what we need to repair, what we need to rebuild stronger. And even dialing it down, if this for you is like your career, where it's like, I've been struggling so much with my purpose, my career, you are meant to shift something within the system, something within your day, your routines, your structures, your habits, how you show up. So if we could zoom out and take a look at the bigger picture, why do I keep meeting this resistance at work? Why do I keep getting like pushed out of this job? Looking beyond those layers, because everything is not as surface level as we think it is, right? So if it's like, I keep meeting this resistance, I keep meeting this pattern, what is it within your energy that is like projecting that? What can you repair? What can you build stronger? What do you need to look at internally to shift your external environment? And that's why 2023 has been so heavy, because the energy of 2024 really lightens up. It really does feel like we get this upgrade and there's this new sense of appreciation. It's felt like we've been climbing this huge freaking mountain forever. We're tired, we're exhausted, we're sick of it, we want to give up. Like, and we've seen those moments, right? Like, I'm sure all of you can relate. There have been moments where you're like, yep, not doing this anymore. Like, I give up, I'm completely broken, I'm shattered. 2024 frees up the energetic space where it really does feel like we've reached the summit. It's like I've been climbing this mountain forever, and now finally, like, I get to witness it from a different perspective. I get to be on top of it. I get to see things so differently and so clearly. And that is like this new heightened sense of deeper purpose is a huge theme in 2024. A sense of deeper purpose, where as if it's felt like we've been lost or kind of like floundering around these last couple of years. In 2024, it's like things instantly become so clear. Things are shifting at like a higher rate. There's like all of this quantum energy that's just accelerating our path. And of course, 2024 is going to have its challenges because we're human after all. But for the most part, it really does feel like it's a year filled with miracles where things feel easier because we've already done most of the heavy lifting. This is not going to be the case, of course, for everyone, because there are waves of this awakening that have been happening. So if you feel like you're one of those people who have been like climbing this eternal mountain, that have been putting in all of the healing work and the self-reflection and the growth and the evolution, and you've been having the dark nights of the soul, and you feel like you've broken and rebuilt yourself, and you've just been in like the thick of it, then for you, it's going to feel like a breath of fresh air. You're going to be like, oh, the energy frees up. For the people who are in the earlier stages of their awakening, who have kind of like been ignoring the work, like maybe there's things that I'm aware of that I know I should have been doing, but I've kind of been pushing it off. I'm delaying things. I'm just like, kind of like, ignoring it. Then, you know, in a lot of ways, 2024 feels like it's going to be pushing you and like forcing you to do the work. Like there's really no way around it anymore. Like we've reached a point collectively where it's just the same toxic cycles can't keep going. So 2024 for you is going to be like so obvious. Like, nope, you can't keep ignoring this anymore. Like you have to put in the work, or you might experience like literal, like physical disease. You might experience, these moments of just like where everything is breaking down, like it's felt for some of us for the last couple years. So just be aware of that, because sometimes we really do have to break in order to be in order to become. And that's kind of like what we've been doing, breaking the systems, the structures, the things that aren't supportive. And so that's why in 2024, it's a lot of rebuilding. It's kind of like, okay, I've identified it, all of the areas that no longer serve me, that don't no longer work. And in 2024, it's like, oh, okay, I've rebuilt something so much stronger. So it's like easeful, it flows. In 2024 really is the year of you prioritizing your needs, your desires. What is it that you're committing to? It's like this bigger picture vision. 2024 is about boundaries. Where am I giving too much? There's a lot of like the law of giving and receiving is super heightened in 2024. Where am I giving too much? Where am I not giving enough? Where am I not receiving? Receiving is also a huge theme that we're going to be talking about today. Stepping into who you've wanted to become. So a lot of us have felt like this transitional energy, like this being in the void, the limbo, like purgatory, right? Like hell, where it's like, I'm no longer who I used to be, but I really don't know like who I'm becoming. So I'm being really called to be present and grounded and just take it literally one step, one foot in front of the other. 2024 is like, oh, you've arrived. Like you are stepping into who you wanted to become, the vision that you had, that you've been like manifesting, that you've been praying for. That future self has arrived. So that's why it's really important for some of these themes of heart healing, being open to receiving, um, being completely open to all of the possibilities. There is a huge theme. A lot of us are in the stages. And at any point, if anyone has any questions or like anything to add, feel free to like drop any comments or feedback in the chat. Um, but I've been seeing a lot in this later half of the year of the need for heart healing. What defense mechanisms have I been living with? What walls have I built around my heart? How am I keeping people at a distance? Because community is a huge theme. Like as we stepped into the age of Aquarius, 2024 is going to be even more about partnership, collaboration, letting people in, because we really do need to rebuild this collective society together. So letting people in and activating this feminine energy. Where is my energy blocked? How am I being resistant? Where am I not trusting? Where am I not surrendering enough? So the feminine energy of 2024 that we've been healing and moving through is really being present. And so a lot of us have been healing a lot of feminine energy. A lot of us have been called to womb healing, to sacral healing, to root healing, the ancestral work, the feminine work. And whether you're a man or a woman, it's been the same thing, because we're moving out of this patriarchal system and structure into something more, free flowing, the age of intuition, of community, bringing back the village. So just be really aware that the best ways to work with the energy of 2024 is setting that intention. I'm completely open to all of the possibilities. Everything works out for me. I'm activating my feminine energy through movement, womb healing, noticing where am I holding my masculine energy? Am I being too forceful or controlling? Am I focused on the results rather than trusting and surrendering and allowing flow? And then heart healing, huge, huge, huge. If you feel like you are holding on to any resentments, any heaviness in your heart, just even taking a moment now to like drop your energy and your intention in your heart, just allowing yourself to connect to the beat of your heart. Do I feel tension? Do I feel hesitant? Do I feel resistant? Does the idea of trusting of new people and new experiences, am I like, is that causing my heart to tense up? Because if you're feeling any tension, any blockages in your heart, you really want to work on feeling safe, feeling safe in your body, feeling safe to receive, because 2024 is a year of receiving. It is going to take that trust. It is going to take that community. It's going to take all of that. So, heart healing for you might look like having conversations with people in your life that you've been putting off or avoiding. It might be nurturing yourself, nurturing your inner child. It might be listening to sound healing frequencies, opening up your heart, choosing affirmations of like, I'm open to trusting, I'm opening my heart space, I'm bringing in new people and opportunities. I was just jumping around a little bit in my notes, but I'm going to go into the comments for a second, into the chat. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm so glad that the message is resonating. Yeah, collaboration, finding your soul tribe, heart-centered living. Yes. Amazing, Cabrina. So I want to go. Okay. Can you share about what you mean about quantum energy moving through and activating? That's a great question, Kimberly. Thanks for bringing that up. There's something about, and I'm going to go through some of the collective themes that I was tapping into for the first 6 months, because this first 6 months are especially potent. But there's this really fast-paced energy from, I would even say, and this is how we're like so divinely aligned, because whenever I'm like channeling these workshops and like spirits just talking to me, like, you need to, share this message with other people. And I kind of just like feel into a date, like, okay, what date feels supportive? I didn't even realize that I think it's Saturday, the 27th is a full moon. So everything that we're talking about today, this is the last one of the last full moons. Of course, December is going to be the last full moon of 2023. But this week's energy has extra potent opportunity for us to release and leave some of this energy of 2023 behind, and really setting those intentions of, I'm leaving, maybe even writing a list of what it is that you want to leave behind in 2023, burning it, giving it to the earth, just disposing of it, and just like really sinking into that feeling of, this is everything that I'm leaving behind. December really puts us in a place of, and I don't know about you guys, but I've never fully felt aligned with like the Gregorian calendar that we live by. So of course, January, new intentions, new goals, it's like the start of the year. November has always felt for me like this really potent month of like vision planning, setting up your structures, not waiting until January. Like, don't feel like you have to wait until January to do that new me, like bullshit. Okay. Like, start it now, start the process now, because the energy is actually supporting us better now. In January, it's almost too late. Like, in January, it's like we're already going through the motions. January is already like bringing stuff in. So the more that we're clearing out now in November and actually setting ourselves up in terms of like visioning and bringing things forward, like in December, like December actually feels like the fresh beginning, the clean slate, the karmic release, like these new levels of healing. In January, it's like we're just in it. So that quantum charged energy, Kimberly, like you mentioned, we've done the work already. And now it's kind of like we just have to like ride that wave and be like trusting that we did what we need to do on our end. We have to just, like, everything that I was called to do, everything that I was called to heal this year, I can just appreciate it. There's no more action really needed to happen. It's just like, okay, I can just allow this energy to carry me forward, where I don't have to feel like I need to push or force or control. And there's always going to be aligned action steps that you get to take, but for the most part, like 2024 is such a, like in a lot of the readings I was doing for 2024, it's kind of like, yeah, you kind of got to like take your hand off the wheel. It doesn't even feel like our hand is really on the wheel on 2024. Whereas this year we had a lot of choice. It was like, okay, which way do you want to go? Like, that was kind of like always The back and forth of 2023 is like, oh, what are you doing now? Which door are you walking through? Which path are you taking? Like 2023 in a lot of ways was this crossroad of like, okay, which direction are you heading in? What are you committing to? And 2024 is kind of like this, well, you're here. And so like the choice has already been made. It's already in front of you. It's just about aligning to it. And that feminine energy is exactly that, of like trusting, surrendering. And we need a good balance of both. The masculine systems and the structures, the analytics and the results and the outcome matter. But most importantly, this heart healing that we're talking about, if my heart is not open to receive, it doesn't matter how much I work, how much I produce. It doesn't matter how much I hustle, because if I'm not actually open to receiving the things that I'm working for, they're not going to make their way to me. So if I'm calling in abundance and money, but my heart is like, oof, no, it's actually not safe to have all this money. If I'm calling in a partnership and relationship, but I'm like, actually, no, like I'm good, you're going to keep hitting a wall. It's going to keep getting like, oh, you'll get a little bit of money. Oh, you'll get like a half-ass partner who's not committed. And it's like being aware of our energy and our, feminine energy of like, am I fully trusting? Like, am I fully open to receiving? Or is there something in me that's kind of like, no, I'm good. I don't have to have that. And so that's something good to sit with from now until the end of the year, of being super clear on this like flaky energy that we've experienced in 2023 of like, do I want this? Do I not? Do I want this? Do I not? And not being afraid to say that this thing is what you want. Because and again, in that heart healing way, we are kind of like traumatized. Like a lot of us have this PTSD of like manifesting and of working and of trying. Like we keep trying and we keep trying, and it's like the same outcome, disappointment. And so we create those defense mechanisms in our heart because we're like, okay, this isn't safe to dream anymore because the dream isn't manifesting. And it's not that the dream isn't meant to come true or not going to come true. It's just the emotions, the receivership, the feminine energy. It's kind of like that's the missing puzzle piece. It's like how far are you willing to go? And it's kind of like the ultimate test. And it sucks because we're human and we're like, ugh, not this again. Like I'm freaking tired. Like just give me the thing that I want. So in a lot of ways too, like 2023 has felt like a tantrum year. It's like, I'm like tantruming. And 2022 actually had a lot of that energy in it, where it's like, we were just very exhausted. Like, it was like we were broken in 2022. And it's like the 2023 energy just kept on pummeling us, hitting us hard with these heavy lessons. And so that's why 2023, it kind of like frees up. It's like, okay, cool. Like you've learned, like we've put you through enough. Let's keep moving now. Right. So let's keep moving. Um, so, January felt like the theme for January collectively felt like tolerance. What have you been tolerating? What are you willing to tolerate? Like what's a yes versus a no? And we start the year off like in this very like boundaried sense of like knowing what I want and what I don't. And so January is kind of like reconfirming, right? Validating. Oh, okay, like we get it. This is not what you want. This is what you want. It's almost like this um how would it's like organizing. Like this is the game plan. And so there's going to be like maybe some trials, like some lessons of like being placed in front of you of like I don't want to say like temptations, but like literally like are you going to revert back into your old way of being, or are we going to move forward in this new energy? And are we going to change what needs to change? So there's a little bit of like this upheaval energy of January. That's like that uprooting of no, I'm super clear on what I want and what I don't want. And there's this energy, like very detail oriented energy that comes with January of like, I'm turning over all the rocks. Like I'm looking at everything. And it's a really great month of visualization, like grounding visualization, because January really does set up the months ahead. And it's also a great month for like cord release and energy healing. February February feels like a really supercharged month of activation. So February has this like momentum associated. Like it's going to be a really active month of manifestation. Like the gear is in drive, there's no more delays. Like things really are going to just click into place. And it's almost like this course correct. Like if you weren't really clear about what's happening or what you're committing to, it's like it's going to be a course correct. And that could be positive or it could be negative because that might look like, oh, I've been meaning to quit my job, but I never did. So you get fired. You know, there could be like these moments of like you being course corrected. It's also a really good month and an important month of communication. So making sure that you're communicating really clearly and effectively and that you're saying and doing what you mean. The law of giving and receiving really starts to heighten in February, where it's like, again, it, there's like this polarity where it can't be one sided anymore. Like, am I giving too much? Am I not receiving at all? Like, really being aware of that delicate balance. March is this collective theme of like recuperating. So March feels like this reset point almost of I'm planning, I'm also detoxing. Like it's a good month for like detoxing, clearing out clutter, drowning out the noise. March is a really good time for like self-reflection, going within, and taking an audit of what you need to feel supported and nourished. Because that February energy is kind of like, whoo, it's like a whirlwind. So then March, we're kind of like catching our breath and we're like, whoa, what happened? Like, what do I really need? Like March is also like this month of like grounding, being aware of what I really need to feel supported and nourished. And then April is this like initiation month. Again, there's like this busy and fast-paced energy of April where this like surge of energy, there's like this awakening that happens where things fall into place. And it's just supercharged. It's like breakthroughs, downloads. I see things so clearly now. Like it just feels like alignment. And looking at the seasonal energy, like March is spring. We're coming into April, which is going to be a solar eclipse. So we also have energy on the back end, like the sun, the moon, the seasons, also working with us to like bring our commitments and our energy forward. May is countdown. So there's a lot of like teamwork, community, cooperation. May feels like the arrival of something new. Like this eclipse in April, it completely cleanses, washes out, clears the slate. And there's a lot of like this anticipation energy in May of I'm waiting for something new and I can't wait for it to get here. Like there's just a lot of like excitement and anticipation and really clear moments of destiny that happen in May. June, the theme is receive. So this is being open to new experiences. In June, being aware of like where are you pushing too much or trying to force things to happen versus that feminine energy of trust and surrender. June is a time to let it go, let it flow. You're not in control. June is a big transition month where you're easing into something new. And June, of course, we have the solstice portal or solstice also is a huge gateway of like possibility and receiving. So those are the first 6 months. So as you can see, it's like this supercharged energy where it's like we just get hit at the beginning of the year with like, all right, what are you about to do? Like, are you about to do this or are you not? Like, there's just a lot in like different areas of our life that are really going to shift and really going to be shown to us, but in a good way. Because although 2023 was a shit year, the year that we probably never wanted, it's one that we needed. We needed this year because if we were to keep doing the same shit that we've always been doing, we would never grow, we would never evolve, we would never come into this energy for 2024. It was really interesting too to see in a lot of the readings, I kept getting like these downloads of watching out. And this was like a collective theme that I was like, oh, okay. Like when messages keep coming up over and over again, 2024, like really watching out for ways like manipulation, deceit. Like, how are people trying to like coercion? Like, am I making this my own decisions or am I being manipulated into a certain decision? Like, am I listening too much to the people around me and am I not like using my discernment or intuition? Because the last couple years also has been really potent in us being very mindful of what we are putting our energy into, what we are consuming, and how we make decisions. So 2024, be really mindful about, is this decision coming from my higher self? Is this decision in the best alignment of my timeline, of my path? Or am I kind of like being manipulated? Because there's like this polarity of 2024 where there's a lot of light rising collectively, and there's, lightness and attracts darkness and vice versa. And there's this like, it's almost as if there's like, I'm not trying to scare anyone or whatever, but we've done so much work that there's almost like this energy of like, oh, let me see like how far I can push this person, or like, we're reverting back into our old ways of like not being sovereign beings, when the last 5 years, everything that we've been through as a society, the earth has been trying to tell us like, reclaim your power, especially as women. Reclaim your power, reclaim your truth, reclaim your authenticity. Don't let people manipulate you. Like, where is this coming from? Is it coming from like a well-intended place, or is someone trying to like deceive you and bring you back into a lower vibration? So, we're being called out in giving our power, and this includes like systems and structures, like, for anyone who wants to become a mother, how am I allowing the system to decide how I birth, how I do things, or am I using my discernment? Am I educating myself? Am I finding the resources? Or am I just reverting into like this powerless version of me that just goes along with am I being the good girl? There's a lot of advocacy that we're being called to step into as women, and advocating, using our expression, pushing back on these systems because they're very old systems. So pushing back on those systems and challenging them, and not in a state, like not in a place of like, oh, rebellion and just for the hell of it, but literally just for your highest alignment, for what's best for you. Like, is this really best for me? Or is this person saying it's best for me because it's really best for them? And that's the kind of level of discernment and trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, trusting, because we're really being called to do things different. So allow yourself to do things differently. Allow yourself to find alternative solutions to everyday problems that, oh, well, this is just how it's been done. Like, that narrative is over. Like, oh, that's just how it's been done. It's like, no, there's other possibilities. And that's also that heart healing of I'm open to new possibilities. I'm open to new experiences and new people who can guide me, who can connect me. So be really discerning in your choices, because we've done a lot in that area. Kimberly, are you muted? Oh, let me.
Okay, I was muted, but I'm okay. And I was typing this in the chat, but you kind of just answered this, but you were talking about doing new things, which everything that you're saying really resonates because I feel like 2023 was what you just named. A question that's been like really strong for me is like, how do you know that you are truly like breaking free of old patterns that don't serve you when 95% of what you are doing is subconscious and being able to, and I think the question for me has been like, I believe in following my intuition, but also I'm like, in my childhood, like many of us, or we have these different experiences that can be traumatic that shape maybe even, I guess the question is like, does it shape how our intuition guides us? And so I've been battling with that for trying to figure that out a little bit, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. And our intuition has no, and I think this, like, what's coming to mind for me is like ego versus intuition, because the ego has limitations, right? And our soul, our intuition, which literally, like, our intuition is pretty much like the voice of our soul or our higher self, right? The ego has limitations. So often the ego wants to keep you small or contracted because of fear. Our intuition is like, I don't give a fuck because I'm limitless. I don't even like, I like time has no, like, I'm not concerned about time or the how or how crazy I am or I seem. Like, our intuition is just like, I'm out here doing it. Like, I don't really care, right? Like, it doesn't have this bias, doesn't have that judgment. One of the ways I like to teach intuition is how it feels in your body. Like when you're thinking of something and you're like, like, how is it sitting in my body? Like, should I move here or should I stay here? Like when you're thinking about, like, okay, should I move to destination A or destination B? When I think of destination A, how does it make me feel? Is it like neutral? Is it like, okay, I'm kind of hopeful? Or, and when I think of destination B, and am I like immediately like, do I have a visceral reaction to it? Am I like, is my heart like tightening? Am I having like a contraction somewhere? And because our body will really help us to start like moving through some of those emotions that we're feeling without having our conscious mind dictate it from an ego perspective, if that makes sense. Because our ego will automatically, if I'm thinking about location A or location B, my ego is going to start thinking about well, how is this going to be possible if I'm moving? Our ego is already rationalizing and judging and forming biases and creating these connections of the two destinations without even allowing our body or our soul like to process it. And whenever you're hearing, like that voice of fear, like if you're going to make a decision about something and then you start like hearing that ego or hearing like that fear and you're like, oh, I don't really know, talking to it. Like, what am I most afraid of? What about this decision is, because again, the ego isn't bad. It just wants to keep us small. It wants to protect us. It wants to keep us quote unquote safe because we don't know, like the conscious mind hasn't formed an idea or identity around this new thing that we're trying to create or do. And the subconscious mind, like you said, like, and even when I feel into like, oh, how do I know if I'm like subconsciously doing this? Even like with our subconscious patterns and beliefs, there's like this moment of introspection that kind of happens where it's like, huh. And even with the subconscious mind, like so much of that is the ego of like that fear. And whenever you're feeling that fear, just know it is that, like, your intuition isn't afraid, like your soul isn't afraid of anything. it's your ego and your subconscious mind that's kind of like, this isn't safe. This is a red flag. And so talking to that voice and just being like, well, what feels unsafe about it? What kind of like becoming an observer to your beliefs is what helps. And there is so it's even interesting like learning about subconscious, which I'm sure you've like studied too, Kimberly, because you seem to be like really on it. But like, you know, the biology of belief, like Dr. Bruce Lipton, like when we talk about like subconscious reprogramming, the thing with the subconscious mind is that these thoughts can be replaced. So even when you're falling into those patterns, like using words of affirmation, listening to subconscious reprogramming tracks that are like helping you be in that mindset, because you're already recognizing and witnessing what your subconscious, it's like a catch 22. You're already like witnessing and contract, like catching what your subconscious mind is like repeating. It's just like that trust aspect of like, because your intuition sounds crazy as hell. Your intuition will be like, yep, move tomorrow with no money, no down payment. Like, and you're like, what? Like, I'm human, you know? And, but it's like, okay, where's the balance between like, okay, my intuition and my soul is telling me I need to move here tomorrow, but I'm a physical person who needs to materialize that. So how do I get like, what's my bridge from my soul to my ego? Like, what are the things that I can do to get to that place? But that makes sense for like me and my experience. All right. Um, PTSD. What is the best way to change and release that? And I will say, oh my gosh, in the readings that I've been doing lately, it is this like trauma because like we've been doing the most like to get to this outcome and it hasn't happened yet, maybe, right? Or maybe you're on the precipice or the brink of this huge transition and it's just not there yet. The PTSD is like, I've tried this already. Like, I've been here before. Like, I know where this leads. That's our human experience being like, this isn't safe to do it again. Like, you've already witnessed the thing. And it's like, it's one of those things where sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to build yourself back up. Like sometimes you really do have to break before you become, and you have to be so grounded in your why that it just keeps you coming back every single time. You have to be willing to really shift your perspective and say, I've already been through the darkest points. I've been in the void. I've been through like the depths of hell, and really not being afraid to go back there. Because I will say, like, in all of these trials and tribulations that have been put in front of us, it's these micro lessons. It's this, what didn't you learn this time around? It's that, oh, I missed this one piece. And it's kind of like I have to go back to the drawing board. And it sucks because who the hell wants to experience that? But it's just having that faith, that courage, that I can do this. And again, for so many of us, it's not that you won't, it's not that you can't. It's just about finding that perspective, finding that shift in what can I do differently this time? How have I been approaching it from an energetic standpoint? Have I been resistant? Have I been not open? Have I not seen a lot of the possibilities that are in front of me because I've had tunnel vision? And that's something that I've seen a lot lately in clients is tunnel vision can be a good thing, but not when we're in a space of co-creation and we're really like breaking the barriers and the mold on so many things. Tunnel vision can then be very restrictive and confining for us because it's kind of like if you don't let the universe do its thing and your ego is set on, nope, this is the only way that I can go from point A to point B. You know, the universe has like X, Y, Z crossover, whatever. There's like so many possibilities that you can reach your destination. But if you're just being very insistent that this has to be the only way, then you're gonna kind of come up to that resistance. And because that's a very masculine way of like approaching things as well. So there has to be like a delicate balance between this is the foundation, the structures and the systems that I'm creating, but I also trust that it's gonna align and it's gonna come and I'm gonna receive it in the highest alignment. So just being like really aware of like how can I shift my perspective? Am I being like closed minded? Is my heart closed to these new possibilities? Also, what I've seen a lot for my clients is, are you allowing people to help you? Are you allowing people to support you? Are you expressing your needs, your desires? Are you being honest about what you need, about what you truly need to feel like you can do whatever this thing is that you want to do? Like, are you having those conversations? Oh, you're welcome. So, the best ways, again, to work with the energy of 2024, being completely open, being very mindful of your feminine energy, and that heart healing. Like, where are you resistant? Where are you not open to receiving? And like the closing message that I received from the guides were these collective contractions turn into expansions. 2024 really is the birth of something new. That's why so many of us have been on this precipice, in this crossroad, in this void, in this like rebirth death cycle, because 2024 is bringing in some like really life-changing stuff, like life-changing energy. Like this really is the birth of something new. We've been like doing a lot, and 2024 is we're like, oh, okay, I see the vision now. Like I see what I've been working for. So I hope that feels helpful and supportive, because trust me, I've been like, come on, guides, like, what do you got for us? I feel like I've been in this since last year of like November of last year. And I'm like, damn. So these messages have just helped me like get by. And I'm like, you know what? I need to share them with other people who feel like they've been in this space, because don't get discouraged. And I know what it is to keep trying and doing things like, we're forming these pieces of a puzzle, we're putting them together. And that can be hard because sometimes we're putting pieces of a puzzle together, not even knowing what the whole thing looks like. So we're kind of just like shoving things here and upside down. But that picture seems to be getting a lot clearer. If it hasn't landed for you yet, like I don't know how many of you feel like, yeah, like I've been moving through a lot and I'm starting to see like, okay, this is like becoming a little more clear for me. For sure by January, February, it's gonna like land. You're gonna be like, this is what I've been preparing for. And that's also like what I want to mention. Like in so many ways, we're being prepared for what comes next. And that's why it can feel challenging and overwhelming, because there are things that we need to do on our end in order to arrive, in order to get to where we need to be on our timeline. And that's some of that quantum energy where something that would have took someone 5 years to do, oh, I'm doing it in 6 months. I accomplished it in a year. So just being mindful of those themes and those patterns. So, my beauties, does anyone have any other questions, any feedback? We were talking about a lot. The way I recommend moving through the rest of the year is just sitting with yourself, integrating, processing, releasing all of the debris, the emotional clutter, the mental fatigue of 2023, sitting with this full moon and its potent energy and just harnessing the power of it to like release. And um I only channeled the first half of the year. It was like the first half of the year. We'll meet again in June and talk about what we've been moving through. Cause I was gonna do the whole year and like spirit was like, no, let's just stop. Like, cause it's a lot. Like we're gonna be going through a lot. And I'll do this again in June for the work for the rest of the year. So yeah, just moving at your own pace, going slow. There really is no pressure to get things done. Just wrap things up from a place of like energy of like what you're releasing and leaving behind in 2023, and just really visualizing and sitting with what you are calling in and stepping into for 2024. All right. So if there's no more questions or feedback, thank you so much for just being here, being on this crazy ass journey of like being a human with me at this timeline. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, enjoy the rest of the year. Please do keep in touch. Let me know how you're doing, how you're feeling, and we're in this together. Thank you. Take care. Bye.